Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for GE for the invitations. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk about how to optimize the fetal cardiac imaging at 11 to 13 weeks. These presentations designed to meet the needs for physicians who perform fetal cardiac imaging. And then the objective is to review image optimizations and then how they can affect the image. And then at the end, we can receive tips on color Doppler optimizations and how to avoid pitfalls and review fetal heart screening at 11 to 13 weeks. So here, fetal heart defect is the most common structural heart defect. And then for the second and the third trimester fetal echo, already well established. And at 11 to 13 weeks, the heart is quite small. So this becomes the challenge for the physician. And for any examination in the first trimester, it needs high resolution ultrasound, sensitive color Doppler, favorable fetal position, and a proper scanning technique. According to NHS screening program, here, if you see their target, the serious cardiac abnormalities, the target is the lowest in comparison to other anomalies. They only have target for 50% and detection rate. And here, if we see what ISOC say, their guideline in 2013, if we see what they say about what we need to see the heart, it's quite minimal. So we only need to see the cardiac activity and 4 chambers only. And in this guideline, they say that the use of Doppler should not be part of routine assessment. But recently, this has been replaced by new guideline, and they say that it is safe to use a color Doppler at 11 to 13 weeks. And for this guideline for cardiac in the first trimester, many people believe that ISOC will publish the new guideline soon. And if we see the effectiveness of first trimester echo, this is the publication from Fetal Medicine Foundation in 2011. So if we see this, the detection rate for heart defect in the first trimester is not that high. And they just published 2 years ago from 100,000 pregnancies at 11 to 13 weeks. So if we see some of them, the detection rate is quite good, but some of them, detection rate is not that good. So some of them need, when the pregnancy get advanced, and then it will become more obvious. Why we need to see the heart defect? Because according to these publications, many studies says that if we can pick up antenatally, it can improve the outcome of the heart defect. For instance, like hypoplastic left heart and then coarctation or TGA. So now I will talk about the importance of fetal position and machine preset. This is the factors that affecting precision in ultrasound. First of all, which probe we should use in the first trimester, and then the fetal position is quite important to see the heart properly. And then the machine, we need to be familiar with our machine. We need to be able to optimize what we have. Why it is important? Because poor imaging, it will lead to a misdiagnosis, and then good quality of images, it needs good technique, and then it will make accuracy, and at the end, it will create our confidence. And what is the difference between a 20 and 12-week scan? According to ISO guideline, actually the technical factors quite similar. From the ultrasound transducer, high frequency harmonic imaging, and then the heart should fill at least 1/3 to 1/2 of the screen. Sinaloop is the most is important feature that we should use. And then the parameters like grayscale, high frame rate, contrast, resolution, persistence, we need to be familiar with these things. Why we need to do 12 weeks over 20 weeks? So if you look at the 20 weeks, the uterus is already extrapelvic, and we have limited access. In comparison to 20 weeks, the 12 weeks, when the uterus remains intrapelvic, it gives a window through suprapubic. So so this is the chance to see the heart. So firstly, I'm going to talk about how we choose the probe. So for this probe, this is a probe with a low frequency and better penetration. This is good for obese patient. And then for linear transducer, this is good for the resolution, field of view, constant image density. But the downside of this probe is the penetration is not that good for obese lady, and color Doppler frame rate. We can't use stick 4D for using this probe. This is very good for slim lady. And this is the probe as the main transducer for screening. Why? Because it has consistent quality of image, directional power Doppler, the penetration is good, and we can use stick by this probe. But the downside is moderate resolution. And this is the best probe that we can use for the first trimester. This is for targeted screening. When we suspect anomaly, we transvaginal probe is recommended to use for better resolution. And we can use stick, and it can be used as transvaginal probe. And in some cases, like obese, we can use this probe for transabdominal use as well. And if you look at this, this is the publication from Monica Hack, 2002. Here we can see that a transvaginal scan is ideal if the CRL less than 55 millimeter or less than 12 weeks. So if we have the patient comes to our clinic 11 weeks, so this is the best probe that we can use. Here, the fetal position, we need to be concerned about the position itself. This is the interventricular septum at 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. The question is, which position is the best for scanning, and which one to avoid for screening? Here, the answer is the best is when interventricular septum in between 10 to 11. So in these positions, we can get everything: four chamber, TVT view, aortic arch, and the worst when interventricular septum at 3 o'clock. So we should avoid this. And how about the use of grayscale and color Doppler at 12 o'clock? What we can expect with this position? With this position, we can assess the heart size and position. Four chamber crux we can see nicely, and the transfer aortic arch we can see as well. So this position is the preferable scanning position. And when the grayscale and color Doppler at 3 o'clock, this is the scanning position to avoid. Why? Because massive shadowing, the heart by ribs, shoulder, and scapula. But this is a good alternative position to demonstrate fish sign. And how about at 6 o'clock? At 6 o'clock, yes, it could be the alternative. Yes, it is suboptimal, but we still can assess the clocks for chamber view, ventricular filling, arterial crossing. And how about the Mason preset? So there is no certain preset. During the scan, we have to continuously adapt image according to object of interest. With one patient, we have to sometimes we have to change the preset itself, and what we have to see concern is a depth, zoom, focus, 2D gain, frame rate, and cine loop. Okay, about the temporal resolution or frame rate, by definition, it is a number of frames created per second, and this is the ability to accurately locate moving structures. Frame rate 20 to 25 seconds is perceived as real time as human eye, but for assessing fetal heart, it needs to be above than more than 25 per second. How we adjust the frame rate? So we have to adjust of frequency selection, depth and focus, second angle, and zoom magnifications. So this is for the case. This is we know that this is a suboptimal view. We can see the depth, the focus. This is not a good to assess the heart. So the depth in left, and this is the same patients. This is deep imaging. The left clip, more depth, but the temporal resolution is worse. And then if we adjust the depth, shallow imaging, less depth, and then better temporal resolution. And focal zone, we need to focus what we see, what we focus. Here we can see here, so we are assessing the heart, but we put the focus there. And then on the right image, we see we put the focus exactly parallel to the object of interest, which is the heart. And zoom magnifications, the left clips, here we can see they are suboptimal, and we need to magnify. We need to zoom, so it will create a better frame rate. And then how to enhance, to intensify or improve the quality. We need to be more detailed in harmonic frequency, dynamic range, and then any difference in different tones or not. For the harmonic imaging, body tissue reflects signals at twice the scanning frequency. It increases axial and lateral resolution and decrease the artifact. So the helpful tip when we use our machine, we should put the harmonic on. And then how about the SRI, speckle reduction imaging? It eliminates speckle or weak signal, and strong signal are enhanced. On the left clip, this is they are the same patients. SRI put 1. Artifact is too much, but on the right clips, too smooth. For the helpful tip, we use SRI 3, so it's in the middle. And here, dynamic range. So dynamic range, this is how we tell the machine how we want the echo intensity displayed as a shade of gray. So for the cardiac itself, it's better visualized with increased contrast. And here, okay, the sector angle here you see here the angle is quite big, and compared to the right eclipse, it's narrow. So here, when we see the object of interest, we should put as narrow as possible here. So because again, for the heart, we need to have optimal frame rate. And the color Doppler here on the clip on the in the left, and then with the right, activating Doppler itself, it decreases the frame rate. So when we use the color, when we put the box, we should put as small as possible. So we should focus on what we want to see. And you see here, it affects the frame rate. And how about the color tint? We can use black and white, sepia, etc. But until now, there is no general recommendation which one is the best for screening. And then how about the velocity or PRF in GE machine? Here we use the 2.4. We use here. It looks like lysing. And again, if we don't adjust properly, we think probably, oh, this is lysing, this is regurgitations. But this is incorrect. How about if we increase into the frequency? If we increase higher frequency here, it's better. But still, we can use. We can see the lysing. Again, if we only see this image, probably we think, okay, there is a regurgitation, tricuspid or mitral regurgitation. But again, this is incorrect. And here, actually, they are the same. They come from the same patient. Here you can see it's exactly normal patients. Again, if you don't adjust properly your machine, if you're not familiar with the machine, so we can misinterpret what we see, and this is absolutely normal heart. And how to use the 3D and 4D. This is the new, relatively new, how to assess the heart. And here, this is the TUI rendered from stick. This is the FVSD case, but I will focus later. And then, what is the obstacles for first semester scan? Fibroid or uterine contraction, it will increase the distance between the probe and to the fetus. So it will decrease the quality of the image. And then the body mass index of the patients, we have to choose which probe we should use in slim lady or in obese lady. So we have to be concerned with body mass index. And then improve the cardiac imaging. Now we move on to assess the cardiac itself. So we have to distinguish between screening and detection. For screening, this is one of the tools, nuchal translucency. We all know that increased nuchal, it increases the risk of chromosomal abnormality. The higher nuchal, the more the higher risk for cardiac defect. And then this is the meta-analysis published in 2013. We know that the likelihood above 95th centile is 8, and if it is above 99 centile or 3.5 millimeter, the positive likelihood becomes 30. And the performance of adapters, we know that if the PI increase or absent or reverse ductus venosus, it increases the suspicion of chromosome, the heart defect. But if it is normal, yes, it lowered the risk for cardiac defect. And here, in this meta-analysis, involving 7 studies, regardless of anti-status, sensitivity can be 50% and specificity 93%. And 9 studies with involving 2,900 pregnancies with increase, the sensitivity becomes 83% with specificity 80%. And 7 studies, including 47 patients with normal NT, the sensitivity and specificity, down into 19%. And for the ductus itself, we have, sorry. So for the, sorry, I got trouble with my clips. Yes, we have to see the how's the ductus, any agenesis or not, or any abnormal insertion DV or not. In the right clips, we see that there is abnormal insertion, that the DV drains directly to IVC, and it increases the risk of Down syndrome. And the cardiac axis, this is one of the tools for heart screening in the first trimester. Here, if we see these publications, they publish the normal angle in the first trimester, and the more advanced pregnancy, the successful to get proper cardiac axis is higher. And after 12 weeks, the axis is already established. But 11 weeks, this is tricky time to assess the cardiac axis. But from 12 weeks onward, the axis is already established. And how about ARSA? Here we see here. So the right subclavian artery behind the trachea itself here. So this is a trachea. And there's a study from Italy. This is a prospective observational study. They included 6,000 first trimester pregnancies. They use a color Doppler and assessing right subclavian artery visible in 85% in populations, and then fetal cardiac defect in chromosomally normal around 5%. So what we can say from this publication, that right subclavian artery is visible to be assessed during the first trimester scan. And if we picked up the ARSA, it is associated with heart defect or chromosomal and genetic defect. And how about, so we just talk about screening. Now we need to see directly to the heart. So we need color during the first trimester heart screening. So according to Chowie publication in 2002, the use of color Doppler in 3 planes for chamber view, left outflow, and in DVT view planes, this really helps to rule out major abnormality. And in this publication, he said that we are aware that not all of the heart defects can be excluded by these 3 planes, but at least by these 3 planes, we can rule out major abnormalities. And here, which planes should be displayed during the first trimester scan? Abdominal situs, fourth chamber view, left outflow, DVT view, aortic arch, pulmonary vein, right subclavian artery, ductal arch, aortic arch, and ductus venosus. So here, there's publication 2011. That was a retrospective study, included 690 fetuses. They used color Doppler, and the visualization rate for situs 100%, and they were able to see fourth chamber 96%, left outflow 97%, quite good, TVT few 98%, and aortic arch 72%, pulmonary vein only 23%. And if we see these studies, this is about how which planes we should put routinely in assessing the fatal heart. In majority, they do by fourth chamber view and grid vessel view or TVT view. And about the visualization rate, the more pregnancy, the more advanced pregnancy, the more successful we can see this plane. Here, like 11 weeks, only 20%, and 12 weeks, 60%, but 13 weeks, 92%. And if we see this fourth chamber, pulmonary trunk, three vessel view, aortic root, long axis, and crossing arteries, you can see all of these, that the more progress pregnancy, the higher visualization rate. So 13 weeks is better than 12, 12 is better than 11 weeks. So what to check and not what to check. So this is just to simplify the things. So we need to check the situs and how's the size of the heart, how's the position, how's the heart rate, fourth chamber, the grid vessel, and we should put the Doppler and any unusual findings or not. And what not to check during the 11 to 13 weeks? ARSA, pulmonary veins, VSD, and intra-echogenic foci. So according to your CAT, this is the classification of heart defect by severity. Class 1, we can pick up by abnormal fourth chamber, like single ventricle, hypoplastic left and right heart syndrome, Epstein anomaly, tricuspid atresia. And class 2, the fourth chamber could be normal and could be abnormal. It's like AVSD, TGA, TOF, coarctation, common trunk, aortic stenosis, PA, TA, PVR. And the class 3, normal fourth chamber like VSD, ESD, and pulmonary stenosis. And for the class 1 and class 2, 80% of them require surgery and 7% of them are too severe for surgery. And what we can expect in the first trimester, the class 1 and class 2 should be detected during the first trimester scan. But for VSD and ESD, we can't see in the first trimester. Here, what we can expect to see. So at 11 to 13 weeks, single ventricle Epstein, tricuspid atresia, yes. This detection rate, according to FMF publications, their detection rate in the first trimester is quite high. And then in the abnormalities in the yellow box, yes, sometimes we can pick up them in the first trimester, but sometimes we can pick up them later in the second trimester, like coarctation, AVSD, TG, and TOF. And in second or third trimester, we can pick up a VSD, ASD, and pulmonary stenosis, but we can't pick up them in the first trimester. So this is Pareto principle. This is how we simplify the things. He is very brilliant. He says that 20% of the input, it accounts for 80% of the output. So the same principle can be done for the fetal heart screening in the first trimester. So if we see this, the incidence of the major heart defect, they account for 83% of all severe congenital heart defect. So we should be able to pick up them in the first trimester. So if our patients has question, is my baby normal or not? So the first question we need to answer, is it single ventricle or not? It could be hypoplastic, pulmonary atresia, intact ventricular septum. And then the second question, is it FESD or not? The third question, is it TGA or not? Fourth question, is it coarctation of aorta or not? And then the last question, is it tetralogy of Fallot or not? If all of the answers no, so we can tell the patients, okay, don't worry, your heart is normal, but we still need to see you again to evaluate the baby again in the second trimester, in the third trimester, because of what we discussed before. But if we can rule out these 5 major defects, we can reassure the patients, okay, don't worry, your baby will be fine. Okay, so now we talk about the hypoplastic left heart syndrome. This is the most difficult congenital heart defect, and it can affect the neurological outcome. And according to the publication from FMF, 92%, they can be picked up in the first trimester. So only 3 out of 40 picked up in the second trimester. So from 40 patients, 92% can be picked up in the first trimester. So this is the clips of hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Here, what we can see in the 4-chamber view, the left ventricle is small. Only one ventricle filling, which is a right ventricle. Left outflow is not detectable. Absent flow, and then if we put a color Doppler, absent flow or a lysing, and V sign, we can demonstrate large PA, and no V sign, aorta is not visible. And this is an sorry. Here, this is the TVT view. We see this is the pulmonary artery with the retrograde flow of aorta. Here we can see a different color. So pulmonary is blue and aorta is red. So the flow, so they are not forward flow. The aorta. And this is another heart defect, pulmonary atresia and intact ventricular septum. This is similar to hypoplastic left heart, but in the right side, 4-chamber, in the 4-chamber view, right ventricle is small, only one ventricle filling, which is left, and small PA and aortic arch is normal. And how about the FESD? The FESD, according to FMF publication, from 100,000 pregnancies at 11 to 13 weeks, FESD account for 11, and 90%, 10 out of 11 can be picked up in the first trimester. What is the sonographic pattern of FESD? From 4-chamber view, there is no crux, and we can see FE regurgitation sometimes. Here, so this is the view. In the left clip, we can see there is no crux. So there is a single channel in the center of the heart or crux. Here, the middle image, they are similar. And then with the jet, with color Doppler, we can see colored jet in the middle of the heart. And how about the transposition of great arteries? Transposition great arteries is rarely associated with extracardiac and chromosomal anomalies. And if it can be detected antenatally, it has good prognosis, good outcome. And what we can expect from ultrasound pattern, 4-chamber, they are normal. The great vessel, if we see this is a normal 4-chamber, but if we go up, only single vessel instead of a V sign. And this is the TUI. The TUI, we can see the single vessel So this is left, yeah. This is left and this is right. So we can see here this is a normal 4-chamber view, and here we can see the VSD, and here so we can see the right aortic arch. So this is the trachea. And how about the coarctation of aorta? Coarctation of aorta here, the sonographic pattern, the right is bigger than left ventricle. Here we can see here that the right ventricle, if we put a Doppler there, is obviously bigger than the left one here. And if we go up to three-vessel view, the aorta looks very, very small, very tiny. And how about the tetralogy fallow? This is rarely detected in the first trimester. We can see at level of TVT view where pulmonary artery smaller than the aorta. So yeah. So this is the pulmonary artery, which is smaller than the aorta. And here, oh, sorry, I got trouble. Oops. Sorry. Okay, now I move on to another defect, Epstein anomaly. In the one of the largest study in the first trimester, they included 40,000 pregnancies from 8 Epstein. No Epstein can be detected during the first trimester scan. And what we expect to see in the first trimester, in the ultrasound, in the 4-chamber, we can see the dilated right atrium with displaced tricuspid valve with severe tricuspid regurgitation. Here, what we can see here the tricuspid is more apical than the mitral. This is the same patient, and then if we put the Doppler here, so we can see tricuspid regurgitation here. And this is the use of stick rendered with UI. We can see severe regurgitation through the tricuspid valve. And how about the aortic arch abnormalities? So this is the normal. Illustration, for for the TVT view. So this is the trachea, the pulmonary, and aorta should go to the left of trachea. And these are the the aortic arch abnormalities. And aortic arch abnormality itself, it is associated with 22q11. And here, so so this is the clips for a right aortic arch. Here in the middle, we can see the trachea there. Oh, sorry, here, this is the trachea. And here, this is the double aortic arch, and then it creates the vascular ring to the trachea. And the truncus is not easy to detect during the first trimester scan, but here we can see there is one big vessel arising from both ventricles here. This really helps. The TUI really helps. Oh, sorry. You can see the single big vessel. We don't see the branching out from pulmonary artery or the aorta, but we see the single vessel arising from the both ventricles. So this is the way how we differentiate truncus with other heart defects involving the overriding aorta. And this is interesting case. You see how important the color Doppler here. So this is the second pregnancy. I still remember this lady. This is the first lady. The pregnancy ended up with fatal death. And the same the same finding, if you see again, you see with the same vessel, blue and red, so it's bidirectional flow. And there are some publications from Vita Zidere, Christoph Berg, Fred Usakov, and more than 90% of bidirectional flow associated with aneuploidies, and majority is trisomy 18 and 13. So in conclusion, the most important scanning planes for fetal heart can be consistently examined with first trimester. Transvaginal, it's very helpful, especially when the CRL less than 55 millimeter. Color Doppler is quite crucial. And a large number of cases with major heart defects can be excluded in early gestations. And however, the first trimester heart defect cannot replace second or third trimester fetal echo. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aditya, for your knowledgeable sharing. Now we are going to move to Q&A session. So to all participants, please feel free to type your question and send to us. To submit your question, you can click the icon question mark here or click on the question box. While we are waiting for the question, Dr. Aditya, I have a question for you, maybe from our side as an apps. There are some questions where we are doing training to doctors. Do you recommend any courses or short courses to have a skill to do the fetal cardiac on first trimester scan? Maybe when the pandemic over. I know that now it's difficult to have a workshop, fetal cardiac workshop offline, but maybe I hope it's soon that the pandemic will be over. Do you recommend any workshop or course that we can attend?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Because if with the proper training, it will make better the transfers of knowledge, and then with some periods of training, it will be better than only one or day course. Long-term training will be better.
Do you recommend any name of course or place to take this course?
Well, I mean, during this pandemic, I mean, you can have many online courses, and then I think many centers they provide the local in Indonesia and international. They provide workshop or as sort of workshop.
Okay, Dr. Aditya, thank you. We are still waiting for the next question. For the audience, please, you can type your question. You can click the question mark icon here, or you can click on the question box. Oh, I see, Doctor. I see some question here. Hold on. From Dr. Weliandri, say thank you, Dr. Aditya. And then from Dr. Azan Salim, he asking from your department which cardiac abnormalities mostly found?
Well, I mean, from our unit at Harapan Kita, well, I mean, this is quite tricky because majority of referral cases, they refer to us in later gestations. But since we have with our own patients, we do have 11 to 13 weeks clinic, but it is not routine. So TGA, hypoplastic left heart, yes, they are common. And FESD, yeah, probably these three chromosomal defect that we found at our center.
Okay, and then for the next question from Dr. Arini Firmansyah. Doc, I find it difficult to use the color Doppler for heart screening with my machine. It always turns out like regurgitation. Dr. Aditya, maybe you have any advice to help Dr. Arini on this issue?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Arini, for the questions. Well, I mean, again, during the scan, we should continuously adjust the machine. So there is no one preset fits for the same patient or even for other patients. So we should change from time to time the preset itself. You have to increase the PRF and sometimes to lower the PRF. It really depends what you want to see. For the atrioventricular septum, you need the higher PRF. But for low flow, for example, like pulmonary vein or ductus venosus, the vessel is low flow, you need to lower the PRF. Because if it is too high, again, you will find full of color. So you have to adjust. Depends on what you want to see.
Okay. The next question, Dr. Aditya, from Vietnam, Dr. Tai Nguyen, asking for the role of ultrasound, the role of slow flow in the first trimester echocardiography. Slow flow, yes. Asking about slow flow in the first trimester echo.
Yes, yes. In my slide, I put slow flow. From my point of view, it really helped for the heart screening because we can see the delineation of the ventricle, the heart itself. It really helps. So yeah, slow flow is one of my favorite tools in ultrasound. It really helps to see the heart, the heart structure itself.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aditya. The next question is from Dr. Sudarsono Hadi Pranata. Can you explain once again the meaning clock direction in examination fetal heart? It's used in transvaginal or transabdomen.
Well, it doesn't matter which probe you use, as long as you have to see. I mean, when the cardiac arrest is at 12 o'clock, so whether you use transvaginal or transabdominal, they are fine. But you have to see when the heart, if the cardiac access, if the interventional septum points to 12 o'clock, 10 to 11 o'clock, with one movement, you can get everything. For example, the interventricular septum at 11 o'clock, whether you use transabdominal or transvaginal, with this fine movement, with only one movement, you can get everything. But if the patient comes to us and the baby interventricular septum at 3 o'clock, so look at other parts of the body. You can assess the nuchal, you can assess the extremities and so on, but just leave the heart. Or if the heart persists like that, and after some time the heart persists like that, I mean at 3 o'clock, you can send the patient for a walk for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and call the patients back. And majority of babies will have a better position. So you have to see interventricular septum. So this is the tips. If it is 3 o'clock, don't push yourself to finish the heart. But if it is 11 o'clock, so it is heaven, because you can get everything in one single movement.
All right. Then the next question is from Michael Home. Is there a minimum criteria of ultrasound equipment for this examination? The ultrasound criteria is the equipment.
Yes, it is a very good question. Thank you for the question. Good question, but difficult to answer. But you need to have a good probe, and with the resolutions, and you can test the machine with the Doppler. So if the grayscale, if the B mode, the resolution is good, so it is good machine. I mean, from my point of view, if you want to know whether this is good or not, just go to B scale and look at the resolutions. If it is good, then it is good. Yeah, this is my answer.
The next from Dr. Hendrik Sutopo, he sent you a comment. He said, "What a great presentation, Doc," and he asking, "What is the optimal speed setting for color Doppler flow in first trimester fetal echo?" Speed setting on color.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hendrik, for the question. Well, I mean, again, there is no rule. You have to be, because from machine to machine, if I go to one machine with different patients, or even for the same patients, well, you have to continuously adjust the setting itself. So there is no maximum. So you just adjust the setting and see how's the Doppler. So if it is tricuspid, for example, if it is tricuspid regurgitations, then you increase the PRF, it will be there. But if it is not tricuspid regurgitation, if you increase the PRF, it will disappear. So there is no certain value or number to say, oh, this is optimal, this is not optimal, because the same patient, the same machine with the same patient, it could be different. So it's really flexible. Thank you for the question.
The next question, this is the second question from Dr. Michael Home. After we found a first trimester fetal heart abnormality, what is the next action to take?
All right, thank you for the questions. Well, because this is the same question why we need to pick up the heart in the first trimester, because we know that majority of heart defects, except TGA, simple TGA, and isolated phase, they are strongly associated with chromosomal defect. So we can offer the patients with invasive procedure or further tests to evaluate any chromosomal defect or not. And then for heart defect itself, the earlier detection, it will make us to refer to the heart center, to the hospital dedicated for the heart defect. So it is very good for referral. And then at the end, they will affect the outcome of the baby that has been detected antenatally. Thank you.
Dr. Aditya, you have comment from Dr. Azan Salim. Excellent presentation. Thank you. And from Dr. Somin Pam, thank you.
Yes, Dr. Azan is my teacher. Thank you, Dr. Azan. He's my teacher.
Yeah, we have 1 minute more. I think we don't have no more question here. Thank you, Dr. Aditya.
Yes, thank you.
I think that's all for the question. We are end the webinar now. I hope this webinar beneficial for all of us, and have wonderful weekend for everyone. Bye bye. Thank you, Dr. Aditya again.
Thank you very much. Yeah.